Taking photos has become almost a habit in today's day and age. And there's so many levels of it that it's quite a daunting task when it comes to choosing a camera that suits you. Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and in this video we're going to go through a few different types of cameras and what my humble opinion are of the 3 questions that usually steers you in the direction of one of them. The first thing you're going to ask yourself is how much money do you have to spend on this? Secondly is this camera for you? In other words, we're going to look at the different types of people that uses that camera mostly. And the last thing, a pro and a con of each, in my humble opinion. It doesn't really matter what the make of the camera is. I just used a few samples that I could get my hands on. Now, to break down the budget that I was talking about, let's say small, 800 to about 2,500, and then medium, 2,500 to 8,000, and big, 8,000 to 20, 25, and then big is obviously 25 plus. Now I know this will differ for everyone, but that's how I had to classify it. The smallest of the bunch, although more a video camera, I've used it in time lapses, which it's great for. Put it up and it does its thing, it's out of everyone's way, and it does make lovely photos in the end. These little action cameras are more for your sports junkies that uses them, and also on-the-go vloggers, as I've used it. It has a relatively small budget and are sometimes underestimated in its photo capabilities. The con, I think, is the battery life is not always the best. Next up is a small point-and-shoot camera. Easily fits in your bag. I almost want to say it's a good reference camera where you quickly want to take a photo of a tree, a plant, a bird to look up later, a photograph nice and clear, and very easy to use. Also, this one falls into the small budget. And I want to say the con to this one is that people feel that most phones these days does exactly the same. Although also a compact point-and-shoot camera, this one has got more advanced features. It's got a bigger zoom and you can push your creative limits with it. Perfect for someone that's always on the move and needs something to get creative with. A medium budget, and a con, I believe that it's underestimated in its capabilities for the price that you have to pay for. Now this little jet-setting camera is from the older days. Although there's very different makes, this is a Polaroid one. Prints an image immediately after you've taken it. It's super cute and falls into the medium to big budget. Depends on how many prints you do, because it can get a little bit expensive for the paper. That aside, when you're into instant coolness, this is the one for you. The next one really packs a punch. It's the niche little camera between a compact point-and-shoot and the DSLR range. It usually has an extensive zoom range, and you really can get creative with this one. A traveling buddy, which you can be able to push new limits with, or kids that just starts out photography. Also, a great friend to the traveling pensioner. Medium budget for this one, and if you're not familiar with its capabilities, you might find it a little bit intimidating. Now this is a mirrorless SLR. This system is great when you want fast focusing and new age technology. Add lenses as you go along. It's a small, compact, versatile system. Recommended to anyone who are up to date with its capabilities, but still wants to reach all those creative limits. It falls a little bit into the big budget, depending on how many lenses you want to add to your system. And a con, I believe, well, I haven't really experienced one yet. So help me out. Now, before we get into the big ones, let's not forget about the film camera. Yes, the one that uses film. Now, although it's not something anyone would go to straight away to capture their images, it's more the camera for the collector and the person who explores the other avenues in photography. Depending on your collection, your budget can fall from small all the way to big. The con, you might think, will be the uncertainty of what your photographs look like, but that's the exciting part of it. I believe the con is the scarcity of the films these days and developing it. When you start playing with this little guy, there's no going back. The entry-level DSLR, aka digital single lens reflex camera, is extremely popular amongst mums on the long side of the sport field, the nature lover going on another adventure, or the amateur photographer getting to know the ropes in the industry. falling smack into the big budget, I can't really think about a con straight away, and I can go on and on about this one. But I think the biggest con in this one, once you have it, get ready to be addicted, because you're just going to want more and more and more. Now, the FX, aka full frame, aka professional camera, is the step up from the entry-level DX format camera. Now, without going too much into detail, we know this one is for the professional photographer, but I do know that it's also for the serious hobbyist. The lenses really reach beyond what we can imagine, and the budget is, without saying, bigger than big. Although there isn't really a con, the only one I can think of is the size of the system. It can really get big, especially if you're trying to pack light. This one I believe we overlook as a camera, especially the role it plays in our day-to-day. The cell phone is the all-in-one, especially for the social media conscious person. It's at your fingertips and is ready to publish out of the phone. The creative limits are not as limited as you might perceive, and the budget, anything from medium to big. And the con? Well, maybe the lenses. You can attach lenses, but the quality of that cannot compare to a DSLR. Now, the underwater compact, I wasn't sure if it really fits into its own type, but I do believe that this one does. It is mostly for snorkeling enthusiasts. They do fall into the small to medium budget, and if it's used for the right purpose, I really don't see any con for these, except for the fact that the zoom is very limited. That is my short version of my experience with these type of cameras. What is your favorite? Please leave it in the comments below. I would love to go through them. If you agree with me, please like this video. And if you find it helpful, please share it. If you want to see more, subscribe.